Now, to handle errors properly, we're going to need to do a few things. And the first one we should probably do is create some kind of file to hold the different types of errors that we might encounter in our application. So let's go ahead and create a utils directory. And then inside that utils directory, let's touch a utils/errors.js file. Now, this errors.js file is going to handle any errors that might come up in our application, but with a touch of HTTP mixed in there. And so to handle all the different types of HTTP errors, we're going to need to make a few things. The first is we're going to create a class called ExpressError that extends the standard JavaScript error and contains a single constructor function. That constructor function takes in a message and a status, and it attaches it to an instance of this error class. So we'll say this.message is equal to message, and this.status is equal to status. And all this is doing here is it's taking a standard error, which JavaScript knows how to interpret, and it's extending it with a ExpressError class. Now, the reason why we have a status and message here is that there's a number of different errors that might happen in our application. Might be a status 400, 401, 404, 403, 500, 422. There's all different kinds of errors that might result from the way the application is handling data sent to it or data being sent from it. And so we can actually take this base error class and we can construct a number of different errors from it. One of those errors is a not found error. So if the user tries to hit an endpoint that doesn't exist, we'll serve up a not found error, and that would look like this. Not found error that extends this ExpressError class, and the constructor function here will just have a message that defaults to not found, and it will call its parent class constructor function with the message and a 404 status. And 404 is representative of not found. We can then go ahead and create another error, which is one we'll use pretty often, which is a bad request error. And this will also extend the ExpressError base class, and it will have a constructor function with a message that says bad request. And we'll do the same thing as before. Super message, and the status code for a bad request is 400. And so once we have these errors in place, we can actually export them. We can say module.exports is equal to, and this time we're going to export an object that contains each of these errors in it. So it will contain the express error, the not found error, and the bad request error. And we will export all of these errors by default from this utils/error.js module. Now notice here how we're just listing the single name. This syntax is shorthand in JavaScript for doing this. For having the key and the value, have the exact same name, we can instead write that just like this. And JavaScript will know exactly how to handle that. And so this is shorthand for doing exactly this, is coming in here and giving each of them the exact same name, key and value within the object. And so you'll see this sometimes, and a lot of times you'll see this in modern JavaScript, mainly because it is shorter, it's terse, it's easy to read, and it means the same thing. And so by doing this, we now have a set of errors that we can return to the client when the request does not go as expected. But to make sure we handle those correctly, we then need to go into our routes file, and we need to check to say, like, hey, if any of this goes wrong, we want to catch those errors, and we want to pass it on to the next handler in our request response cycle. So that's what we're going to do.